Lord Jesus.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bingo is Live! I haven't actually ever did the beginning. That was my first time.
That was very good.
Well, it's really because I need to do 2 shout-outs.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Lid is Grayson's son.
Yeah.
What up, Lid?
Yo, Lid.
What up,
Yo, Lid.
Grayson? Thanks for listening. You guys are awesome. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Are they going to flip their lid?
Good.
Maybe.
Wonder if he gets that too much and he's now very angry.
Nah.
If he is, I'm sorry, Lid.
Are we going to introduce ourselves?
Oh, yeah.
No!
Yeah, the ritual.
The Anonymous Podcast.
All right.
Yeah, do it, Jay.
I'm Jay Zare. Still in a very good mood about everything going on in the world.
Good.
The 2 Howdy Show brothers over here.
Yeah.
Chris and
Oh,
Michael.
you're too kind. You're too kind.
We have no longer the hardest working woman in show business.
No.
The one, the only Mum Shackle.
Hey!
And Dan Easley.
And his charming but possibly imaginary friend, William Williamson III. Say hello, William. You know the doctors might be right.
I thought you were going to tell that joke that was an SFW. So fortunately not.
Hey, we had a great bingo tonight. We did. It was a I'm going to say how
It
old
was
do you
one
think?
for the books.
Yeah, there was like a I don't know, 8 to 10 to 12-year-olds. I have no
there
idea.
was,
There was a birthday party
It
going
was
on.
a birthday party with at least 8, 10, maybe 1,000 is what it sounded
They were
like. It was-
probably really jacked up from not being
Oh
at
my
school
God.
today. Right?
Did they all
It was-
play?
They
Did
did, and they were
cow.
loud. And
Every number, everyone screamed in unison for no reason, just to
no.
scream.
Although
Yeah.
one kid did raise his fist and say, "Let's go!" Every number, every number.
Wow.
It was impressive.
The amount of energy that this crew brought to their table. Well, it was a little spooky.
I wonder
Yeah.
if they saved their Halloween candy for today. They were like, y'all, no. We're not touching it Friday. We're not touching it Saturday or Sunday, but Tuesday. We got all day.
In all honesty, they did have a wonderful time, and I was glad to be a part of it. But when you're around, it's like
Did you feel like
being-
Mr. Wilson?
Well, it's like when you're around something that's like it's getting louder and it's moving, and you're like, is this thing going to explode? That's the kind of energy they were giving off.
Kind of like the Bronze Age collapse that we're going through right now. I was walking around Harrisonburg. That's what it sounds like. It's getting louder.
Yeah, it's a wild time to be alive. There's no 2 ways about
Well,
it.
it's the only time we have to be alive.
Thank God we're
Other
here.
than now, you're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
We could have been alive during the Bronze Age collapse, but we're not.
but that we know of.
That we know of. Yeah.
Back to this bingo thing. I was fashionably late walking into Ruby's arcade, and I think I heard Chris. I think I heard you announce to the crowd. They tried to make a paper airplane, but they made a hat.
It's true.
Yeah.
Then I tried to wear it briefly.
Yeah.
But she was awesome. Well, it was a bunch of, so we do a paper airplane contest every Tuesday night. It's goofy, it's fun, and most people don't remember how to make a paper
I'm
airplane.
surprised at how little
She made a hat.
because when we were in school, I feel like people were making like stealth bombers out of paper.
Yeah.
They were very intricate.
Yeah, some of them are really good.
I know a way to win that paper airplane contest most of the time. You would just wad it up into a ball and throw it.
I love that
We've got a rule.
We have a rule. It's it's an unspoken rule. But when I see someone do that, I go, "You're disqualified."
Oh.
I do say that. I say that. I said that doesn't count.
Orville,
Because-
Orville and Wilbur, you cannot do that.
It just-
You have to have a real airplane.
What is that? A bicycle with wings? Get out of here!
In the end, as much as it seems like, I look at the airplanes and I try to judge which one's going to be the best.
Yeah.
Tonight I judged poorly.
You have that vent right in the middle of the alley, which makes it super. It makes it a super challenge. But I think that
There's
if
a
someone,
turbulence.
Yeah, if someone
Yeah.
is gauging for that, then they can do it.
You
But
have a- you
most
have a-
people go just get it right there under the vent.
You have a time limit though on how long it takes to make the plane.
I give
right?
them
20 seconds.
Well,
Oh.
that's not enough time to make a good paper
That's
airplane.
not true. That's not
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
People
There's no
make
time
cool
to fold
airplanes.
little ailerons.
I'm just surprised that no one's out there practicing every single
No,
night.
no,
Right?
they-
like
they-
having Rocky music playing in the background.
They
Getting
do.
better.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Younger children
Yeah.
have lost.
Uh-huh.
They go home, they practice, they come back, and then they go, I've been working on this.
Good.
And
Wow.
I'm telling you,
we had a mother
it's
tell
real.
us tonight that her kid was called up to play, and he did terrible, and he cried, he broke down, like
Oh, my
you know,
goodness.
like
Like
we're
you do.
like we're used to at this
love
point, breaking them down.
Uh-huh.
But you know what? That kid went back home and practiced and practiced and practiced. Came back 2 weeks later and won the game.
He did. That's true. I believe his name was Graham.
That's correct.
And he was the birthday boy today.
That's right.
Oh my God.
That's
What a
right.
great story.
Yeah, that's real.
Sounds like Michael Jordan getting cut from the JV basketball.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's real. That was like the Michael Jordan of paper airplanes.
Wow.
I understand he used to hang on a pull-up bar because he thought it would make it taller. It'd make himself taller.
There
No,
is-
he was just posing for that sneaker logo.
Yeah.
There is a theory that he just willed himself to be tall. Nobody
Yeah.
in his family was tall. and he
Right.
just willed
That's
himself.
awesome.
Which is actually possible.
Manifest.
I just found out.
There's
you know,
probably a genie joke in there somewhere. Michael Jordan with the tall and
there's a growth.
or the devil. Maybe he made a deal
It
and
went
a
down,
fiddle.
down to the
if your
crossroads.
if your growth plates stay open, you grow longer.
All right.
And so maybe you could have a mind over matter and keep your growth plates open. It's within the realm of
All right,
scientific
all right,
possibility, or
okay,
not. Let's
yeah.
ask Grayson.
Yeah, he would know.
Grayson's tall.
All right, so so I have a I know that tonight is a bit of a wash. We don't have a guest this evening.
Yeah.
and so we're trying to keep it light. I got a joke.
We are keeping it light because there's things going on in the world.
All right, here we go. Just in case the world's on fire, here we go, folks. So a man died,
Oh gosh.
and he
What
went
a
to
good-
and he
joke.
and he went to heaven. St.
Okay.
Peter says to him, "Hey, before you meet with God, I should tell you, we've looked over your life, and to be honest, you really didn't do anything particularly good or bad. Now we're not really sure what to do with you. Can you tell? Can you tell us anything you did that will help us make this decision?" Well, the newly arrived soul thought for a moment and replied, "Yeah, once I was driving along and I came along this little old lady who was being harassed by a group of thugs. So I pulled over and I went up to the leader of the thugs, and he was big and he was a muscular guy with a ring pierced through his lip. Well, I tore that ring right out of his lip and I told him and his gang, you better stop bothering this lady and they'd have to deal with me." Wow, that's impressive. When did this happen? About 3 minutes ago, came the reply.
That's why he's dead.
Came to
'cause they killed him.
See,
See, that's not a joke. That's a cautionary tale.
Yeah, you stepped on your laugh line. When did this happen? About 3 minutes ago.
Ah, professional right there. Right there.
When did this happen? About 3 minutes
About
ago.
3 minutes ago.
But you said
Edit that shit in.
Yeah.
I've got a joke.
Okay.
All right.
The Pope's right-hand man comes to him and says, "I've got some good news and some bad news. Good news is Jesus Christ is back on earth. Bad news is he's calling from Salt Lake City."
Oh no.
That's my favorite joke.
That's a really good one.
And God likes it too.
Yeah.
Oh, they're honking for
Obviously.
Jesus.
Yes. As you should.
Oh, good.
Wow.
All right. I'm going to try mine. We'll
Bring
give
it.
it a shot.
didn't-
Unfortunately, okay, here we are. You ready?
Were we supposed to bring jokes? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
That was the text I sent out.
I could just give a punchline.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Hey,
let's let
hey
Mike-
John, I can see your house from here. Much easier
Wow.
just skip to that.
Wow, that's good.
Go
Don't
ahead,
have to
Mike.
waste
Go-
time with
go
all the
ahead.
Okay.
setup.
I hear Mike has a joke.
I'm going to try. We'll see. A cowboy rode into town and stopped at a saloon for a drink. You know, like they do.
Like
Yeah.
you do.
Like you do.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, the locals always had a habit of picking on strangers, which he was. When he finished his drink, he found his horse had been stolen. He went back into the bar, handily flipped his gun into the air, caught it above his head without even looking, and fired a shot into the ceiling. Which one of you sidewinders stole my horse?
Oh.
He yelled with surprising forcefulness. That was my take on surprising forcefulness.
Yeah, that's good.
So no one answered. All right, well, I'm going to have another beer. And if my horse ain't back outside by the time I finish, I'm trying to do my best John Wayne here.
That's
I'm
written
hearing
and
it. I'm
tooting,
hearing
man.
Okay, if I'm going back outside, by the time I finish, I'm going to do what I done in Texas. And I don't like to have to do what I done in Texas.
Nice.
Pilgrim.
So some of the locals shifted restlessly. The man, true to his word, had another beer, walked outside, and his horse had been returned to the post. He saddled up, and he started to ride out of town. The bartender wandered out of the bar and asked, "Say, partner, before you go, what happened in Texas?" The cowboy turned back and said, "I had to walk home."
Did you know?
That's good.
John Wayne's real name was Marion.
That's right, Marion, right?
Wow.
Hey, what do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back?
A boom.
I know the answer.
Yeah, we know the
A
answer.
stick.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey.
No.
Oh, I've got an actual joke.
Okay.
There you go.
What? Where did Napoleon keep his armies? Up his sleeveys.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
What do you call a fish with no eye?
What?
I don't get either one of those jokes.
Hold on. Hold on. I got another.
got
What's,
ADHD.
hey, what's brown and sticky?
Yeah, I know that one.
That stuff that they were smoking out there on the parking lot a little bit
A
earlier.
stick. A stick.
Yeah, it's the same as a boomerang.
Okay, man, I love how the earth rotates. It really makes my day.
Thank you. We'll be here all
Wow,
week.
you're too kind. Wow.
Hey, Michael. What did the fish say when it swam into a wall?
What did it say?
Damn!
Oh, I get it.
You remember that Hee Haw used to do this? They would pop out of the corn.
You know what's weird is this is the second time this week I've talked about hee haw.
Oh yeah.
That's two
You may
times
be a
too many.
Southerner.
By the way.
No, no. He knows.
Wow.
What was the other Hee Haw conversation?
We were talking about today and what kind of day it is, and the song from Hee Haw, "Gloom, Despair, and Agony." on
yes,
Oh,
my
yeah.
mother sings that often.
yeah. So that came up.
Deep dark depression, sincere misery,
Consistent
consistent
misery.
Sincere.
I agree with what Merle Haggard said about Hee Haw.
What did he say
It's something
about Hee Haw?
about they should just haul a bunch of
Okay. So redacted.
big redactions pour it all over the site because it was so stupid.
That was a great joke.
Well,
It wasn't a
Redacted,
joke. It was
redacted.
what Merle Haggard said about Hee Haw. They canceled that. The networks canceled that show. Like, this is ridiculous. And then they went into syndication and ran for like 20 years.
Yeah.
'Cause
For real? Is that how it worked? All right.
You can never go broke underestimating the intelligence of the American viewing
Oh
audience.
man.
But we're not talking about today, folks. We're not talking about today. We
Yeah, we're making
are
jokes.
burying our hands in the sand and our heads. I don't know
right.
why I said hands.
what did the brassiere say to the top hat? You go on ahead. I'll give these two a lift.
Ah.
Edgy.
That's right.
Why was Ginger Rogers a better dancer than Fred Astaire?
I don't know.
Because she had to do everything Fred Astaire did, only backwards and in high heels.
That's true.
More of a statement of fact than
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah. I don't
Hey,
know.
so why does Snoop Dogg use an umbrella? Faux drizzle.
Oh.
Do you know what he washes his clothes
At this
with?
point, there's no one listening to this podcast anymore. It's like,
No, we just
JJ will be waking up like, oh,
But
what is
Jay-
going on?
we just
But
gained
Jay-
20
Wait.
listeners.
Do you know
Thank
what
you.
Snoop Dogg washes his clothes with?
I don't know what Snoop Dogg. I don't care what Snoop Dogg was.
Biatch!
Sometimes, so I put on podcasts to go to sleep, and I forget to put the sleep timer in, so it just starts playing random podcasts that I listen to.
That's how this will get listened to.
Yeah.
Welcome to your subconscious mind where everything is topsy-turvy.
I'll wake up in the middle of the night like, who are these idiots that are... Oh, wait, that's me.
Yuck, 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 yuck.
But when does a joke become a dad joke? When it becomes apparent.
Oh.
This is groaning time. Groaning time.
Groaning
Can
time.
we edit out the introductions from the beginning of the show?
Groaning time. Is that what you were?
Groaning time.
Time for you to groan home.
Do you guys want a really long joke?
Sure, why
Yeah,
not?
yeah. Give us a long. I've got one too.
I mean, this one.
He pulls out a copy of War and Peace.
This one is long.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
And
I'll just go to the bathroom
Yeah.
while you're telling that one,
okay.
Chris.
I mean, all right.
You'll be done before he gets back.
Yeah, just go ahead. You
Wait,
can
you'll be
go to the
back
bathroom
before he
if you need
gets
to. So a guy spent 5 years traveling all around the world making a documentary on native dances. At the end of his time, he had every single native dance of every indigenous culture in the world on film.
Yeah.
Or so he thought. He wound up in Australia, in Alice Springs. So he popped into a pub for a well-earned beer. He got to talking to one of the local Aborigines and told him about his project. And the Aborigine... This is going to be so bad. The Aborigine asked the guy what he thought of the butcher dance. Butcher dance, he said, confused. What's that? What? You didn't see the butcher dance? No, I've never heard of it. Mate, you're crazy.
Well, that was good. It was
Did you
good.
like that? The Aborigine replied, how can you say you filmed every native dance if you haven't seen the butcher dance? I got a corroboree or film just the other week. Is that what you mean? No. The butcher dance is much more important than the corroboree. Oh, the man said, his curiosity piqued. Well, how can I see this butcher's dance then? Mate, the butcher's dance is way out in the wilderness. I'll take you many days of travel to go see it. Oh, look, I've been everywhere, from the forests of the Amazon to the deepest, darkest Africa to the frozen wastes of Arctic filming these dances. Nothing will prevent me from recording this one last dance. Okay, mate, the Aborigine replied, shrugging. You drive north along the highway towards Darwin. After you drive 197 miles, you'll see a dirt track. Veer off to the left. Follow the dirt track for 126 miles till you see big, huge, dead gum tree. The biggest tree you've ever seen. Here, you got to leave your car because it's too rough for driving. You strike out due west into the setting sun. Walk 3 days till you hit a creek. You follow that creek to the northwest. You know where this is going. After 2 days, you'll find where the creek flows out of some rocky mountains. But it's much too difficult to cross the mountains there, though. So you'll head south for a half day until you see a pass through the mountains. The pass, very difficult and very dangerous. It takes you 2, maybe 3 days to get through it. On the other side, head northwest for 4 days until you reach a big, huge rock, 20 feet high, shaped like a man's head. From the rock, walk due west for 2 days. Then you'll find the village. You'll be able to see the butcher's dance there. So, hey, the guy grabbed his camera and equipment, and he headed out. After a couple of hours, he found...
What direction was it?
After a couple of
was
hours,
it north or
he found the
northwest?
dirt track. The track was in a shocking state, and he was forced to crawl along at a snail's pace. And so he didn't reach the tree until dusk. There, he was forced...
We're not going through the whole thing.
Hold on. Just patience, Jay. There, he was forced to set up camp for the night. He set out bright and early the following morning. His spirits were high. And he was excited about the prospect of capturing the film, the mysterious dance that he'd never heard mentioned before.
This is
True.
like Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin drawn out.
True. to the directions he had been given. He reached the creek after 3 days and followed it for another 2 until he reached the Rocky Mountains. The merciless sun was starting to take its toll, and the spirits of both himself and his crew were starting to flag. But wearily they trudged on, finally finding the pass through the mountains. Nothing would prevent him from completing his life's dream. The mountains proved to be every bit of treacherous as their guide had said, and at times they despaired, and ever getting their bulky equipment through. After 3.5 days of backpacking effort, they finally forced their way through the clearing and along the trek. When they reached the huge rock 4 days later, their water was running low and their feet were covered with blisters, but they steeled themselves and headed out along the last leg of the journey. 2 days later, they virtually staggered into the village. To their relief, the natives welcomed them, and they fed them, and they gave them fresh water, and they began to feel like new men. Once he recovered enough, the guy went to the village chief. He told him he came here to film the butcher's dance.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, very bad you come today. Butcher's dance last night. You too late. You missed dance. Well, when do you hold the next dance? Not till next year.
Wow.
Well, I've come all this way. Could you just hold an extra dance for me tonight? No, 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 the chief exclaimed. Butcher's dance, very holy. Sorry. Only hold once a year. You want to see Butcher's dance? You come back next year.
Apologies to any Aboriginal.
Oh, absolutely. Understandably, the guy was devastated, but he had no other option but to head back to civilization and go back home the following year. He headed back to Australia and, determined not to miss out again, set out weeks earlier than before. And he was quite willing to spend a week in the village before the dance was performed in order to ensure that he was present to witness it. But right from the start, things went wrong. Heavy rain.
Can we all just take a moment to recognize it's still happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said this was only going to be a 20-minute podcast. I'm sorry. Right from the start,
Challenge
things went wrong.
accepted.
Heavy rains turned the dirt track to mud, and the car got bogged down every few miles. Finally, they had to abandon their vehicles and slog through the mud on foot, almost half the distance to the tree. They reached the creek, the mountains, and any further problems, but halfway through the mountain's pass, they were struck by a fierce storm that raged for several days, and they were forced to cling to the mountainside until it subsided. Then, before the travels of the mile from the mountain, oh my God, it just keeps going. Eventually, having lost all sense of how long they'd been traveling, they staggered into the village right at noon. The butcher's dance! The man gasped. Please, don't tell me I'm too late to see it. The chief recognized him and said, No, white fella. Butcher's dance performed tonight. You come just in time. Relieved beyond measure, the crew spent the rest of the afternoon setting up their equipment, preparing to capture the night's ritual. As dusk fell, the natives started to cover their bodies in white paint and adorn themselves in all manner of bird feathers and animal skins. Once darkness had settled fully on the land, the natives formed a circle around a huge roaring fire, and a hush descended over the performers and the spectators. And an old figure with elaborate swirling designs covered his entire body entered the circle and began to chant. What's he doing? The man whispered to the chief. Hush, the chief whispered back. You first, white man, ever to see the most sacred of our rituals, must remain silent. Holy man, he asked, the spirits of the dream world watch as we demonstrate our devotion to them through dance. As if they like our dancing. Will they be so gracious as to watch over us and to protect us for another year? The chanting of the holy man reached a stunning crescendo before he removed himself from the circle. The rhythmic pounding of the drums boomed out across the land, and the natives began to sway to the stirring rhythm. The guy became caught up in the fever of the moment himself. This was it. He realized beyond doubt that this wait had not been in vain. He was about to witness the ultimate performance of rhythm and movement ever conceived by mankind. The chief strode to his position in the circle And then the big booming voice started to sing. You put your right arm in, you put your right arm out, you put your right arm in, and you shake it all about. Good night, everybody.
Oh, wow.
Is that okay?
No, we're going to kill him later.
Okay.
I'll never get that 15 minutes of my life back. That much closer to the grave.
Thanks again to our sponsors, Ruby's Arcade and the historic Wine Brothers building in downtown Harrisonburg, and to the law office of Warthog, Alzheimer, and Geezer. I'm Dan Easley.
Thanks for listening tonight. And here's to a better tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.
Bingo is Life, a post-bingo Harrisonburg podcast, is brought to you by the Brothers How to Show and our friends at Ruby's Arcade in downtown Harrisonburg, Virginia. If you've enjoyed the show and feel it's worth spreading a little joy in this world, please tell just one person that you like this podcast. Word of mouth, more than any other form of promotion, is how creative works get noticed and sustain themselves. Thank you, Andrew Hickey, for that bit of wisdom, and thank you, listeners, for being part of the fun.